The topic today. I bought it a long time ago, and this is only the second time I've got to wear it. But the reason I bought this tie is I am on the phone so often, it feels like the phone is stuck to my ear. Does anybody feel like that too? I know there's a lot of you here that do. But I want to remind you, first of all, and just like we do in this, at the beginning of each meeting, is that your cell phone can be an annoyance to somebody else. Have you ever heard somebody else's cell phone that's been an annoyance to you? Interrupted, what have you? But you know, we forget a lot of times. We go to a meeting. I've seen some really funny things that have happened when a cell phone goes off unexpectedly.
Perfect time.
No. I'm in a meeting right now.
$10.
No.
That's 20%.
Oh, you're from the house already? Oh, I had to make an appointment with Tom Berge. It's his busy. Listen, they're going to find me if I don't. Okay, you pay for it.
Wow. Thank you, Raphael. Of course, that was a setup. But I'm going to tell you that I saw that happen at a different board, and the realtor in the back just kept on talking, and everybody was turning around staring at him. So it does happen. But one of the things that I want to share this with you, to put your phone on stun if you don't put it on silent. But I thought this was kind of a cute cartoon I ran across. It's called the Cell Collection. Maybe we should do this here, is collect the cell phones as you walk in, like they did in the Old West, where they took the guns. Well, in this church, you can see here that they took the cell phone. And here's another cartoon that is going to go along with our talk, is don't let the cell phone stop a sales presentation. This is a preacher sitting in the pulpit saying that, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of something. I saw this happen. I saw this happen in a church. It was a lady preacher, and her phone was in her purse behind her, and she couldn't find it. And it was embarrassing. So that does happen. So that's just so you can remember a little bit about the cell phones. Now, you know, cell phones can really be annoying. A $5 fine is really cheap. Here's one where a recent study found frequent use of cell phones can present a serious health risk to the incredibly inconsiderate. And you can see this man at the restaurant gets blown away on the table, at the table with someone with a handgun or a rifle in the back. So I know that's terrible, but it has some humor to it. Sometimes you feel like that, but cell phone common sense starts even before you make or take a call. And what I mean by that is, look at your business card. I get some business cards that are really artsy, beautiful business cards, but you can't find the phone numbers on them. So it might be a beautiful card, but it's not necessarily business friendly. So what might happen is someone takes the number and puts it in their computer or puts it on their telephone, and they copy it wrong. So they've got the wrong number. So it's really important. The other thing is, many times when things change, you go to a new address, whatever it might be, you take your old card and you just update it, but somehow the printer puts in an old phone number. So be sure that you look at your business card, and is it that you like it because you designed it and your ego gets in the way? Or is it something that anybody that you meet on the street will be able to read it and decipher it? So it's really important that you have that. We're going to divide this talk into two topics. The first one is if the party you are calling personally answers the phone. When the party answers, always identify yourself. Give your full name. It's good common courtesy to do so. Sometimes I'll get a phone call from someone and I'm not quite sure who it is. Maybe I'm in a location where there's a lot of background noise and I can't hear the name very clearly. The other thing is, if you're calling them, they might be in the middle of something and they're not giving you your full attention. So use your first and your last name. I get a lot of calls, not a lot, but I get calls like this, is I'll get a call and say, I'll answer the phone and the voice will say, hello Chuck, this is Joe, call me back. Click. I can't tell you how many times I get that. I know they know who they are real well, but I don't exactly know who they are. The other thing is, if they're calling from a dead zone, and here you see a police officer saying that the department finally found a phone system that works in a dead zone. Sometimes your phone might be the best cell phone available, and theirs might be good too, but there's certain areas that you drive through that are phone dead. It's improving. I remember originally when I got a cell phone, there were huge areas that I just could not make a cell phone call out of or take one. It was very annoying, and it's gotten a lot better. So be sure that you call, when you're called or when you call somebody, that you give your first and your last name. Not if it's your spouse. I mean, your spouse is going to know who it is, but it could be someone else. So to simply say, this is John or this is Kate, leaves something to be desired. Now, the next thing is when you do call somebody, always give them the courtesy of asking them, are you busy right now? Is it convenient for you to speak? I'm sure that a lot of you have gotten a phone call from somebody and they take off speaking right away. And you almost feel rude saying, you know, I can't talk to you right now, can I call you back? Like Raphael said, I'm in a meeting right now, I'll show Tom Berge's listing later. But it's important that you ask them. This way they can give you their undivided attention. Also, you'll know who's calling when you identify yourself. In this case, the Joker calls Batman, and Batman says, what? You don't insure the Batmobile? So this is important. Several times I've gotten calls that I'm into the phone call before I really realize who I'm talking to. You know, if they just say Joe, then I might think that it's a different Joe, someone that I just talked to, not someone that I hadn't talked to a month ago. If they say Giuseppe, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm going to know exactly who it is. So keep in mind that you're not seeing the person face to face. Enunciate succinctly via the cell phone conversation. Spell out names of people or streets. Remember this, something as simple as Main Street. As soon as I tell you Main Street, everyone automatically thinks Alhambra, and they think spelling M-A-I-N. But there's a lot of ways to spell Maine. You can spell it M-A-N-E, like a lion's mane, like the state, M-A-I-N-E, and I've also seen M-A-Y-N-E. And they're all, English is such a hard language when it comes to spelling because a lot of the pronunciations are the same. So it'll save you a lot of headache in the future. The same thing with names. A simple name like Smith can be spelled various ways. We automatically think of S-M-I-T-H, but you can spell S-M-Y-T-H-E, S-M-I-T-H-E. So make a habit of sounding out the letters. In Maine, for instance, tell them M as in mother, A as in apple, I as in it, and N as in Nancy. Especially in the title business, when I get calls for property profiles, when I get someone say I need a property profile for 2222 Main Street, I automatically think of M-A-I-N, but right here in Baldwin Park, there's the state, M-A-I-N-E. So it's important that you take the time to give an exact answer. There's a wonderful book, if you ever get an opportunity to read it, by Paul W. Sweats, S-W-E-T-S. S is in Sam, W, no. Titled The Art of Speaking So People Will Listen. The author puts listening on your part as crucial to your success in business and life in general as talking. You know that we have a new Toastmasters group going here on Fridays. One of the things, and I invite you to come, it's an exciting group. One of the things about Toastmasters is that you are also taught how to listen, to sharpen your listen abilities. In a study that author Paul writes about by Sperry Corporation, found this: without conscious training, simple listening mistakes cost the business world millions of dollars annually. In personal relationships, simple listening mistakes can lead to communication failures and tragic breakdown of understanding between people. So if you're working on a difficult transaction, you want to make sure that you understand and you do active listening. Listening is a developed skill. Listening is difficult enough when you're talking to someone face to face, but when you're on the cell phone and Andor's way in the back of the room, if I'm talking to him, he can't really make out what I'm saying to him as if we were sitting across from each other. So the cell phone even adds another thing. Here's an important thing about listening. A visitor that came to the United States for a lot of years, for a year, from Europe, they asked him, what do you think of America? And he had some glowing things to say about it. And they said, and what is your impression of Americans? And he says, they're really generous, they're beautiful people. He says, the only thing that I did notice is they don't listen very well. When they're listening to you, you can tell they're waiting for you to take a breath so they can jump in. Now, listening is not listening for the person to take a breath or watching for them to take a breath. So develop the skill of listening. It'll improve your business, and also it'll improve your life. Now, you know, I believe that God gave us 2 ears and 1 tongue for a reason. And we should use our ears twice as much as what we use our tongue. Now, answer machines.
I like that.
Here's amen, right? The tongues can get people in a lot of trouble. You know, in the New Testament it says that the tongue is the smallest, one of the smallest parts of your body, but that it can steer you in good or bad ways, like the rudder on a huge ship. That rudder steers that big, huge ship, and it's just a small item on the ship. Now, the answering machine. This is another interesting phenomenon. When we were, a lot of us, when we were youngsters, we didn't have an answering machine. We had no idea what it was. Some of us didn't even have a telephone. I remember our neighbor had a phone. She was the first one.
We didn't even have a pager.
We didn't have a pager. Well, we didn't have a phone in our house. Our neighbor, who we loved, her name was Grandma, we called her Grandma Wright, had a phone, and we lived over in Lincoln Heights on Griffin Avenue, and we lived on a street where the back of the lot went down. She had a big garden in the back, and to this day, I can remember hearing her. Her phone would ring up in her house, and she'd come running up to the phone hollering, I'm coming, I'm coming, like the phone could hear her. So it's come a long ways. Now she'd probably have a cell phone on her belt as she was out there doing her gardening. So let's talk about the message machine for a second. Don't make them guess who's calling when you leave a message. I always say my whole name. I know it real well. I really don't need to do that, but I always do. Don't make them guess, because it's annoying. Are you a little bit annoyed when somebody calls you and you can't quite guess it? It's embarrassing to you because you don't want to let them know you don't know who it is. So you don't want to annoy a customer, especially a potential customer. When you get the message and you're going to leave a message, be sure you leave your full name, leave your phone number with the area code. I get a lot of calls that they'll give me their name, and then they'll just give me the phone number without the area code. And I have to guess, especially now where people have area codes all over the place. They'll leave the phone number and they'll say, Chuck, this is so-and-so, please call me at 323-112, or without the 323, they'll just say, call me at 573-1212. So then you have to guess. And sometimes I'll go through a couple area codes. I think it's in San Gabriel Valley. And excuse me, even if it's in San Gabriel Valley, they might not be using 626. So when you leave a message for someone, if their phone has the feature that you can replay your message, I advise you to replay your message and listen to it. You might catch a mistake. And you don't want to send a message that has the wrong information in it. Also, listen to the tone of your voice. The tone of your voice is so important. It is said that it's not what you say, it's the way you say it that counts. So you want to sound cheerful, professional, upbeat, whatever it is that you're trying to convey, be sure that you listen to it. I've re-recorded messages. Sometimes I've heard it. And of course in Toastmasters, we try to practice not using a lot of ahs and ums as filler words. And I'll catch myself doing that on a cell phone because I'm thinking about the message I'm going to give. Also, when you make a call and you get that cell phone or get that message machine, have thought out what it is, the reason you're calling. So you don't have to be thinking about it as you're making your call. So record it, re-record it, throw it away, exactly like spell check. I'm a pretty good speller, but I still use spell check when I send out most of my emails, and many times it's just a typo that's in there. So even that, and it doesn't look professional. I get some emails that, you know, I wonder what grade they went to school in. So it's important to use spell check. Now, I sometimes get calls, like I said, that leave their name and they leave no phone number. So when you leave a message, what I say is, hello, this is Chuck Cota, and I am returning your call, Art. My number is area code 562-965-5141, and I will get right back to you. I look forward to talking with you again, and then I leave my cell phone number the second time. Don't put them right next to each other. It's better to leave it at the beginning and leave it right at the end. And the reason you leave it at the end is if they missed it the first time, they weren't ready to write it down, they're going to pick it up at the end. And I've had people comment, you know, that's great that you do that. So be sure and do it. Speak slowly and read each number. So many times I will get people say something like, Chuck, my phone number is 562-965-5141. And that's not the same as 5141, because sometimes you say, you're so used to saying it, you're going to slur the number. So be sure you say each number. Now, another important time saver is that when you call someone and you leave a message for them, tell them what it is you're calling about, especially if you're working on a transaction in an escrow and they have to get some papers together for you. Rather than leave a message and just say, hello, this is Chuck Cota, please call me back. Say, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, I'm calling about the escrow, we need certain documents. They'll get them together, so when you talk to them, they will either have them or they won't, or it gives them a chance to get them together. So if you don't do that, then you're going to talk to them and ask them for it, and then they have to go look for them. So I get this when I get requests for property profiles. I'll get someone that won't call the office, especially on the weekend, and they'll say, I need a property profile, please call me back. Well, if they would say, I need a property profile on 1212 Main Street, M-A-I-N-E, then I would be able to get started on it and just email it to them or get the information for them. So try to have as much information available. Now, be sure you listen to your outgoing message. I have a broker, he's not in this board, he's not even in this county, and I'm going to tell you what his message sounds like. Honest, this is what it sounds like. Hello, this is Bill Tartan. Please leave a message here or on my office phone at 504-555-1212, and I will return your message. Thank you for calling. And he doesn't talk like that in person. When you talk to him, he does not sound like that. But I get the biggest kick out of it when I hear that. He's doing okay, but you wouldn't dream what his license plate abbreviation is. It's One Hot Broker. So be sure you listen to your outgoing message and record it until it sounds just right for you, the message you want to give. Now, ladies, I know that you want to be careful about messages that you convey, but a message that answers only, you have reached 626-555-2011, leave a message at the tone and your call will be returned. First of all, it's not professional. And second of all, I don't have any idea if I called the right number. It could be, and especially if it's the recorded voice on the message machine. You don't know if you've reached the right number. There's been times where I've gotten a call back and said, no, this isn't Lily, but I'm just letting you know. So that does happen. It's happened more than once over the years. So be sure on your message machine, if you need, you might have a man's voice on there. Have your brother or dad, someone leave the message, and it could say something like, hello, this is Carmen Miranda. Please, this answer machine belongs to Carmen Miranda. Please call her back at your earliest, or she will call you back at her earliest convenience. Thank you. So that's just a thought that you might want to do that. I did place one call a few years back, and the voice on the phone was an impersonation of Clint Eastwood. It was one of the funniest messages I've ever heard. I have Burt Reynolds on my GPS, and I think that's pretty funny. So you've got to add a little bit of humor. You know, adding a bit of humor to your business makes life more fun. Who said that we can't work and have fun at the same time? You know, I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy working, and I enjoy working for success. So add a little humor. People are attracted to that. You'll find that they come back to you. When you return a call, again, have all your homework done and all your information, and think out the reason for your call before you make it. I don't know if any of you have ever called my cell phone before. Some of you have. But I'm going to tell you, I get some pretty... let me dial it for you and see if it goes through. I've gotten some pretty interesting comments. Now, I've had a lot of comments about my cell phone. People call me that know me and people that don't know me, but see if it's gonna... No, it didn't come through. That's okay. I'm not supposed to be making calls from here. Call me later. No, that's okay. We can do it without it. I'm going to summarize this. Answer your cell phone with full attention and listen proactively. If you're driving, be sure you use a Bluetooth or hands-free. I see so much of that on the telephone. Ask people if they can talk now. So many times you call somebody and they're just too busy, or they're in the middle of something, they can't give you all their attention. So ask them if they can talk. Here's someone with a hands-free cell phone. That doesn't quite work. If they catch you driving without a cell phone, you could make the ultimate cell phone call. He's asking for a phone to call his mother. And listen to the message that you leave. Repeat your area code and your phone number. It is very professional to answer your phone promptly. Some people don't answer their phone. I don't know why they have a cell phone. I guess just to call out. So be prompt. It'll improve your business. Believe me, people appreciate when you call them, getting a call back. And it's very, it's something that will add muscle to your business. That's what our phone is. It's a very important tool. I'm going to share one phone call with you when I end here. There are several men. Who said they like to play golf, Bob? There were several men at the golf club, and they were in the locker room. They'd already played 18 holes, and they'd showered, and they were getting dressed. And there was a cell phone on one of the chairs. So one of the players picked it up, and he says, "Hello?" And the voice at the other end said, "Honey, it's me." He says, "Sugar." And she says, "Are you at the club?" And he says, "Yes." "Great. I'm at the mall, 2 blocks from where you are. I saw a beautiful mink coat. It is absolutely gorgeous. Can I buy it?" "What's the price?" "Only $1,500. "Well, okay, honey. Go ahead and get it if you like it that much. I also stopped by the Mercedes dealership and saw the 2011 model. I saw one that I really liked. I spoke with the salesman and he gave me a really good price. And since we need to exchange the BMW we got last year, what do you think? What price did he quote you? Only $60,000. Okay, but for that price I want all the options. Great. Before we hang up, one last thing. What? It might seem like a lot, but I was reconciling your bank account. And well, I stopped to see the real estate agent this morning, and I saw the house we had looked at last year. The price has gone down and it's on sale. Remember the one with the pool, the exotic garden, the acre park area and view of the mountains? How much are they asking? It's now down to $675,000, a magnificent price. And see, I looked at the bank account and we can cover it. Well, then go ahead and buy it, but just offer $620,000, okay? Okay, sweetie. Thanks. I'll see you later. I love you. Bye. The man hangs up, closes the phone flap, looks around the room and says, "Does anybody know whose cell phone this is?"